Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper. As a parent, you want to make sure that your child knows how to deal with bullying when they see it happening. And chances are they want to help, but they don't really know how. Teach them that the best thing to do is calmly walk away, find a teacher or other adult, and speak up. And do your part. Be that adult they can talk to and trust will listen. Join me to help stop bullying. Go to stopbullying.gov to find out more.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome this week with Sheriff Dave Phalen, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners, that join us each and every week, and the people behind the scenes. We have Kelly Roberts, our executive producer, does a terrific job bringing the guests in, getting questions together. This program is actually produced here at Fairfield Christian Academy. J.T. Burchin and the students here behind the scenes, working the cameras, lights, everything, every single week. They do a great job. Back by popular demand is Lieutenant Caplinger and Commander of Lancaster. It's good to be back. It's good to have you back.
Thanks for inviting me again.
So you've got a lot of different things on your uniform, a lot of medals and things. What are some of those things for?
Well, I call them God's blessings. So I went out and worked hard, but I always say I do my best, God does the rest. But there's a couple different awards on there. State Trooper of the Year.
Well, congratulations.
Well, God, like I said, God's blessed me. He gets the glory on that. But
yeah.
So he's definitely blessed me.
State Trooper of the Year?
Yes, sir.
How many troopers are there?
About 1,600.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And what's some of the others?
District Trooper of the Year, the ACE Award for auto larceny recoveries, and also criminal patrol, field training officer, health and physical fitness, and safe driving.
So you were a field training officer?
Yes, sir.
And for the viewers and listeners, that is someone that trains new troopers?
Yes, sir.
And how many did you train?
2.
Okay, and they're still around?
One of them is.
That's not bad, 50-50,
yeah,
right?
50-50, so I should have stopped after one, right?
In fact, this goes back probably before you were born. I was a field training officer early in Columbus, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I happened to have the first female officer with the Columbus Police Department that was ever assigned to the patrol division. And up until that time, they were assigned to Juvenile Bureau. They were never assigned to patrol, and this was like probably 1973, 74. And so it was the first one. And since there hadn't been a female officer in the patrol division, we got a lot of media coverage and everything. So, and I have the same thing. I really enjoyed doing it, but I can remember it was a little bit hard at some point, because not only do you have to say what a great job you're doing, sometimes not everybody's fit for this business.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, we talked about a lot of things last week,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the things that we were talking about before airtime today is the effect of impaired drivers. So why don't you share a little bit about some of the things you've seen and some of the things, how that really contributes to many times serious accidents?
Yes, in our experience working the roads, you look at a completely selfish act that someone's doing, and there's been years of even federal campaigns nationally trying to highlight designated driver and don't drink and drive and be responsible. And in this day and age, we just don't tolerate folks putting our community at risk, going out and making these selfish decisions and irresponsible actions of being impaired as they're driving. And nowadays it seems like it's not so much alcohol that we've all typically thought of as being an impaired driver or a drunk driver, but anymore there's a lot of drug use, which includes prescription medications and also narcotics that folks are using along with alcohol that we've seen in years past.
You know, I saw something, and I haven't checked this for accuracy, but I heard nationwide you have as many fatalities now due to people texting and impaired as you do with impaired drivers through alcohol or drugs.
Yeah, I wouldn't know the numbers, but I would agree. You know, when we're in our personal cars driving around the community,
yeah, you mentioned
it's
that.
not uncommon that you don't see, and you know they'll know when they pass me because my jaw's dropping and I've got my family with me, and it's a shame that people are doing these selfish acts that are irresponsible. They're bad decisions which lead to bad consequences, and they're putting everybody else at risk along with themselves.
And it is a violation to text and drive.
Yes, sir.
Right.
It is. Mm-hmm.
Before airtime, I was talking about a situation where, and I wasn't working. I was off duty, but there was a gentleman that had turned from Election House Road on. He was turning onto 33, turning left there, and he had stopped. He was on his cell phone, and he stopped and blocking one of the lanes of traffic, and he really wasn't even aware of it. And people were kind of flying around him, honking the horns. And he finally made his turn, but he had no idea of what danger he was putting himself in and other people. So anyway, impaired drivers. We have touched upon a little bit about the OVI checkpoints, and we had one in June.
Yes, sir.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, all the local law enforcement agencies work very well together, as you all know, and I appreciate your support. Certainly since I've been here, and I've always heard before that. But anyway, the local law enforcement agencies, we all band together and had one on US 22 at Graceland Drive in front of the Tractor Supply Company there.
Right.
And I appreciate your support again this year, and we were able to remove one impaired driver from the roadways, and we still, you know, nationally that's a campaign where we get the word out and we send the message out to try to reduce impaired driving.
When you look at your career, as far as trends, have you do less people drive intoxicated than they did 15, 20 years ago? Is it the same amount more, or can you tell?
I really don't think so.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it seems like we all get older, but then a new wave of folks replace, you know, as much as you educate and as much as you go out and try to enforce those laws, you know, we still have to use our engineering to try to target where they're at and how to remove them from the roadways, because it's still happening, and unfortunately they're still hurting themselves and other people through this careless act.
Is it mostly young people under 30, or is it all over the board?
It's all across the board, unfortunately.
So that dynamic hasn't changed much.
Yes, sir.
What about seat belts usage? I remember when they started the seat belts. You know, it was kind of new. They didn't, it wasn't against the law. It was just one of the things that you could do if you wanted to. And I mean, I can remember as a kid kind of riding on my dad's lap and, you know, those kind of things. So what kind of compliance do we have as far as with the seat belts?
The compliance rate shows that it's very high in the 80 percentiles. However, in my experience, you'll see the contributing circumstances that lead to crashes. There's far more people injured that aren't wearing these seat belts than folks that are buckled up. So we have a high rate. We've had 2 fatalities this year where a seat belt was available and was not in use. So we can't stress enough for folks to buckle up and prevent themselves from being more injured and possibly fatally injured out of these traffic crashes.
And one other question just came to mind. Why when there is a DUI checkpoint, why is that announced ahead of time?
Well, it's a good question, and I've been asked that question before. And basically the way that I always answer that question is, one night out of the year, we're telling folks where we're going to be at, but make no mistake, every day we're out trying to remove impaired drivers from our roadways. So it's a way of educating the public and letting them know that we are out working together,
right,
as a law enforcement community to protect our community, and we're working together to remove these impaired drivers. So tonight we're here, and you know, be aware that we are looking for it, but 364 other nights out of that year we're out. We're not telling folks where we're at, and we're still aggressively pursuing impaired driving.
You know, and as I think back as far as car fatalities, how the technology in the cars with the airbags, the side airbags, the ability for the cars to absorb shock or during a crash, how that's really improved over the years. It's no longer a metal dash. It's no longer you don't have a seatbelt in a car or the airbags. So those things have really helped. And I want to give credit to MAD because I think that due to their diligence, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, how they've been able to get the alcohol level lowered as far as making it a criminal offense. So all those things have really added to the safety outside of what law enforcement's done.
I agree.
Now, last week we talked a little bit, I asked you, kind of put you on the spot, and I don't know if you've had some time to think about it, on an individual incident that you've been involved in that kind of comes to mind, or something you said, you know, whether it was helping a lost child or investigating kind of a horrific accident and kind of dealing with that. Could you share one of those with us?
The one that always sticks out in my mind was a little girl that was trapped in a vehicle and wasn't properly seatbelted in and lost her life, and it was very difficult. And as a young trooper, I asked myself, what can I do to try to prevent these? And it just so happened that I was just down the road when this crash happened, and got there pretty quickly. But it's not Hollywood, you know, and unfortunately we wish that we could jump in and save the day like you see on TV, and at least in my career, unfortunately, I've just not been able to jump in and save someone. So I take it a point to tell folks and try to educate them, because we never know if a traffic crash is right around the next bend in the road, but I just haven't been able to go hands-on and save someone, so I try to do that now.
Yeah.
While I still have an opportunity to maybe talk to your listeners and your viewers, and tell them to be careful and make good decisions. Yeah,
it doesn't always happen to someone else.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, I even think about, you know, the kids that making sure that they have the car seats properly in the cars, that they're not going to come all, you know, that they're just not setting them in there, or maybe they just decide they're going to buckle them up that one time, they're not going very far. Or maybe they've had a few drinks and they're saying, well, we're going to take a chance, put the kids in the car. It just takes a second.
Yes, sir.
So, well, we're coming to the end of the program. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
And it's been a great couple weeks. I know we're going to get a lot of nice comments about the program, and appreciate your dedication, and certainly all the troopers and how well we work together in Fairfield County and throughout the state.
I appreciate you, Sheriff.
Yeah. Lieutenant Caplinger, the post commander in Lancaster, going on over a year now, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Time passes.
It does go quick.
It does go quick. Well, we're going to have you back here in a few months.
Great.
And if there's any programs coming up, we'd like to have you back on to share things going on with
That'd
those.
be great.
Well, do appreciate each and every one of you that join us every week and the nice comments we get about the program. I don't think there's a week goes by that someone doesn't stop and say they've seen a program. And again, I'm thankful to our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, behind the scene, that really has brought this program to a new level, lining some wonderful guests up every single week. J.T. Burcham and all the staff here at Fairfield Christian Academy and the students that helped put this program together. The clock on the wall says we're out of time. Until next week, same time, same place. If you're driving, buckle up. God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.
Gosh, Darlene, it sure is amazing how much we have in common.
I know, Larry. We both love three-car pileups. We both were built in Buffalo.
And we both know wearing safety belts helps save thousands of lives.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
Don't mind Vince. He's getting over a bad breakup.
I know. Janet's picking up the pieces, too. They're in here.
I wish they understood it's all worth it to get people to buckle up.
Hey, lacerated lovebirds, I sense a major crush.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Talk about head over heels.